It's the middle of autumn and we just had a 100-degree day. Beautiful. Imagine what winter will be like. Might get down to 90. I wonder how they're settling at home now.
What?
Those two.
Oh, did you message?
I didn't
know,
message.
but the message. Oh no, I'm still on.
Probably exhausted. Thank you very much. Tell that long-tongued lie, go tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell them that God's gonna cut them down, tell them that God's gonna cut them down. Well, goodness gracious, let me tell you the news, my head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He called my name and my heart stood still, when he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, died will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God'll cut you down. Sooner or later, God'll cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut you down. Tell him that God's gonna cut you down. Tell him that God's gonna cut you down.
Hello, Danny G. How are you?
Hello,
Shut
Danny.
I
up
hope
and
you're
take
doing
my
well.
money.
Not over-sugared with excess amounts of lollies, candy. Well, it's slowly but surely cooling off. It was only 100 yesterday. Today was only about 95. Autumn can be chilly. Sort of good. We've had some family friends over for the last 3 or 4 days. 2 weeks ago, they were involved in a head-on collision in the middle of nowhere. They survived. They look like Iron Man. Both of them are braced up like you wouldn't imagine. They've got leg braces, back braces. Oh, he has, is he? Make sure to keep his waistline under control. So we've been looking after them, feeding them. They flew back to Geraldton today, but they were in a really bad way. But they're getting a bit better, which is good. So that's what we've been doing for the last few days. We're sort of a rehab centre here. My daughter was here about a month and a half ago on crutches in a wheelchair. Let's see if I can see my Danny girl. Let's turn it this way. Hello. Oops. It just fell on its arms. Yeah, they were very lucky. It was a head-on collision, and they were in the middle of nowhere, and they actually got a helicopter to take both of them to Royal Perth Hospital. But they're in fairly good spirits, but obviously broken and sore. But I fed them up to the hilt, so they're not going to die of starvation. There's the boss over there.
Hello. I'm just going in shortly, so I want to watch.
What are you watching?
It'll be fixed up on shortly.
And I had a back molar taken out about 2 weeks ago. I had to go to the dentist about a week later because it was sore. I went back today because I can hardly open my mouth. So he said it could be, and you know the medical term. It's not Christmas, tris or trimus, which is a bit like lockjaw. You know what I mean? I've got to keep stretching, and he gave me some antibiotics. But it's unpleasant, to say the least. We've got more grandkids sitting tomorrow. 2 or 3? 2. It's not bad. Could be 10. It is still warm here tonight. It's about 28 degrees Celsius, which is 80 something. But everything's growing good. Got all my little seedlings starting off. Ready for what we call our winter crop, but it's 36 degrees yesterday, so it's not really winter. So how have you been other than consuming large quantities of sugar? Been good? I'm actually not on my own page. I should be, shouldn't I? So I can see what people are writing. Good morning, VMAC. How are you?
Hi there, Matt.
Just a quick recap. VMAC, we had family friends stay over. They were in a head-on collision at high speed and they survived, but they're all braced up like you wouldn't imagine. And before flying back to where they live, they stayed here for a few days and we fed them up and looked after them. Danny says 3 days ago, one of my childhood friends, when I was still very close to her, got in a dirt bag and fractures. He's 7. Ooh, spinal injuries. Yeah, it is terrible. And there's a few things still to be done. The girl, she's 40, but she smashed up her knee. They put screws everywhere and plates, and it's more than likely she'll have to have a full knee reconstruction. But they were hanging out to get home because they both got kids. So they're home now. And like everyone knows, if you've been in hospital and you get to get home, that's a tonic in itself. So that's good. What else? Just been hot, hasn't it? Really? Yeah, it's been pretty hot. Yeah, they were very appreciative. I filled up their bags with chili sauce and pickles and chutneys and fed them like breakfasts you wouldn't imagine. We'll go through it. Basically, sausages, mushrooms, tomatoes, eggs, homemade toast, homemade butter on the toast. What else do I give them? Can't remember. Lots of stuff. Big plate full. That's what you'll get every morning here if you stay here. If you come here at the perfect way, you'll leave here a little bit overweight. It's 9 there today. No, well, it's not 9 here. It was 36 yesterday, VMAC. It's the middle of autumn here, but today was only about 90, what was it, 34, wasn't it? So 95, something like that. But the seedlings are going well. All the vegetable seedlings, VMAC. All the seeds that I saved from last crop, from last winter, spring onions, they're coming up nice. Pak choy, other stuff, quite a lot of stuff is coming up. So saving your own seeds not only saves you money, you know where they came from. What's going on? Get your ranch, get in Rich's chat. You must be talking to our correspondent, VMAC. We should nickname VMAC for all her endeavours the Canadian Falcon. That could be your cover name, covert name. The Canadian Falcon swoops in when you least expect it. Well, I've got to do a little trip, so I have to speak to the boss for a little while. No, I'm going to put it on you. Yeah.
No.
Why don't you want it on you, dear? Because you're precious.
Yeah, I'm not in the room.
She doesn't want to be on film. You got the boot. All right, I'll put you teasingly close.
Oh, just give me your thing.
It's there. She's in a precious mood. Don't want to go on camera. Don't want to. No. Stop it. Anyway, that's life. That's what people are saying. I met Rich at Rose's. I stayed distant from him and just like when no, I didn't smell him. Oh dear. Might have to put you through fumigation before you come here, Danny. Just to get all that rich stuff off you. Everybody's got good attributes. Some also have very bad ones. Like, I haven't heard anything about the shawarma kid. He seems to have drifted off into nothingness, into emptiness, no longer to be seen or heard, which is a good thing. Very good thing. Oh, you nearly fell over. I'll pick you up. There you go. Thank you. Precious.
Oh, I'm just tired. Remember that. Wait a minute. Oh, I was gonna show.
Right. So you just ignore your friends, basically.
I'm not fucking lying.
Yes, there are lots of, mind you, in retrospect, there's not much left. I'm sure there are new ones, but there's not much left of the old dirt bags from the bottom of YouTube. They've all drifted off into non-existent relevance. His appeal must have been denied, but I thought he would be. Well, there's one thing which is very interesting. If, let's say, VMAC, Danny G did not pay her taxes for 10 years, and then all of a sudden she files her taxes this year because she wants a stimulus check, well, the buttons would be moved and the things would be pressed and it would get to a certain stage and the alarm bells would go off. You wouldn't see any of that stimulus check if you hadn't paid your taxes for 10 years. And you might be in a little bother. You might get a bill. There's a criminal offence in Australia. I think you get 3 years of taxes that you can lag. But after that, they come for you. Yes, he'd be very wise not to fill it in, because all those debts associated with non-filing, and he did, what, 6-7 weeks work for a trucking company, so they know that he's worked. Works a bit, might work the same in Canada. In Australia, if I didn't pay taxes, whatever, and I just let it all go and I worked for companies and then I moved on to another job, I might work a couple of weeks for the new job and then I see my paycheck. It says 0 because the tax department just garnishes it. And then they see the bank that it's attached to and then they, what do they call it when they freeze your bank? Anyway,
Garnish.
they garnish your bank, you can't do anything.
Garnish?
So it's a good thing for him he's not on anymore. He can now peruse the valley of the shawarma uninterrupted. He will face a lot of terrible things in his life. We all do, but his obesity, morbid obesity, should be of major concern for him. He lives unhealthily, eats unhealthily. Oh yeah, they still take some, but look at that though. No, you're very wise not to have, Danny. You would have been fully employed. We had, there's nothing in my state. In Queensland, there was some guy that breached security of a hotel or something, and now there's like 15 cases, but they clamped down straight away. They just shut everything down. So everyone over there has been in lockdown. There's none here. And the vaccine rollout across the world is very slow. Some countries have done well, the UK. The US has picked up under a new president, of course, because the other president would have said, we're round in the corner. Don't worry about it. But they're getting it under their belt. All those essential workers that need it. The US is certainly getting it, which is great. I think the one factor that stands out to me over this whole period, and all different countries, is people's selfishness. I want to go back to partying. I want to go out now. Irrelevant of the circumstance. And that's what's caused these problems. Easter. I don't know whether you'll have another spike in the US. People just don't stay home when there's trouble. You should heed it, not ignore it. And a lot of people have been very selfish and spread the disease, and they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know I had it, but I went out to 15 nightclubs, tennis club, 5 restaurants." Yeah, I don't, like I say, anyone that's brought up the issue about their freedoms being impeded by wearing masks or being locked down are just selfish pricks. It's as simple as that. That's pretty good. A third of America has been vaccinated. That's brilliant. Still, the staggering loss of life in the US unnecessarily is terrible. You can't get them back. Danny, you haven't got 600 million people in the US. You've got about 350 million, so that means about 175 have been done. Or 150, something like that. Still a lot, that's pretty good. We've got bugger all done here, because we can take our time here, because we don't have any issues really. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still under question, and that's the main one that Australia has bought. 2 nursing home, 1 test per weeks after being fully. Yep, that's happened all around the world. I've been looking into that, VMAC. It's not that it's failed. It means maybe they had a different strain, which the vaccine, whatever it was they were given, didn't cover. That's what I'm reading. Lots of these companies are now saying they cover 8 or 9 strains or 4 strains, but it's a bit like the common flu. You can get the flu shot and it'll cover you for a type of flu, but not the other 20 or 30. This isn't going anywhere fast. 330 million. You had to Google that, didn't you, Danny? Come on. You did, didn't you? Yeah, but I said 350 because there's 20 illegals. 20 million illegals. Yeah, there's a case of one of the ministers had the shots, 2 shots, and got a UK strain of virus. So the fact is, though, when a large number of people get vaccinated, there'll be very little transmission. You looked it up last year? All right. Yeah, so it's a numbers game. That's all it boils down to. It's like any vaccination that you get. Like one guy got it in the UK and then got diagnosed with COVID 24 hours later. The fact is, the vaccine is just initiating the immune system. It doesn't work in 24 hours. None of the vaccines ever do. So you're going to get those anomalies, but like I say, whatever vaccines are working around the world, it's going to minimise the transmission. But the truth is, it will take many years to get to a really comfortable level, and you will not be travelling anywhere without a vaccine passport, I suppose they call it. BMX says, and it's like the flu shot, you may still get it, but the symptoms won't kill you. Yeah, the immune system's a weird thing, really. We have autoimmune diseases. We have rheumatoid arthritis, many diseases associated with our own body our immune system attacking us, which is not good. But there are many of those types of diseases. But with a vaccine, it just joins a long list of weapons that your immune system may have. It's like I read probably 4 or 5 years ago, extraordinary story about a nun who, in the Spanish flu, just looked after heaps and heaps of people. And they tested her granddaughter's blood. They couldn't get her blood because she passed away. But they tested her granddaughter's blood. Her granddaughter, like her grandmother, had natural antibodies to that particular virus, which is, well, it's like the bubonic plague or the Black Death. There were people who didn't get sick. There's terrible stories of some people who didn't get sick in the 14th and 15th century who were burnt at the stake. Because you go to a village and there's one person standing quite healthy and 40 other people are dead, so they figured, it must be a witch. Humans. Said I got some flack from some of my family friends when I went back for my daughter's birthday party. What they didn't know is the people there were already vaccinated. Yes. It is. It's a contentious issue because not only have you got people worrying about people coming around, but then you've got people who are anti-vaxxers. And I've got no, like I said, I've never had a problem with anyone that's anti-vaccination. You just don't have to march and complain to the public about it. You don't have to scream in my face. Just don't take the needle. Canada may not recognise vaccine passports as vaccinated people may still be asymptomatic. That's true. But the reduction in passing on the disease will be minimised. Canada eventually will have to open up like Australia one day. But we're not open yet. It's like the World Health Organization about 6 months ago said many people want to return to their own countries. And we're going to have a vaccine. When we get the vaccine, the World Health Organization said, vaccinate those people that are flying back to their own countries to protect the people in their own countries. But no, that never happens. People just hop on a plane from wherever, fly back to your country, our country. They get quarantined. It's pretty low, but it's about 10% of them have the virus. So a lot smarter if they were vaccinated. Say if someone was here going to Canada, vaccinate them here, wait a few weeks, then send them home. BMAC had the storms. You always had some sort of storm going on, don't you? We're in that time of the year where summer's coming to an end, and if we get any cold fronts at all, we'll have some ripper storms, but just beautiful clouds the last few days, like thunderous looking clouds with not much in them. That's coming this weekend. I'll show you VMAC this because she likes vegetables. These are my pak choy from last year's seeds. And these are my spring onions. I always plant about 8 or 9 seeds in a group. So they're going all right. See a little seeder sitting on top. Hello. These have only just started popping up. They are English spinach. They're just starting to raise their head. And at the back I've got some swede. You don't like Mother Nature. Yeah, so there's just a few of the servings. There's a whole pile of radish that I'm growing, particularly for my son-in-law because he likes radish. And I'm tidying up some of the garden beds. I've got all my garlic in. Radish is good only takes, they're only a couple of weeks, they only take about 4 weeks and you can start harvesting them. But I've tidied up probably 3 or 4 garden beds. It's a little bit rough now because I've dug things around. And no home, no money, no job. Hello, Jojo. Yes, it's very sad, isn't it? But I did discover a few more watermelons. It's getting late in the season, but we've got about 5 or 6 good-sized watermelon. And the cuticle, which is the opposite end of where the watermelon grows, has nearly died back on one of them, so that one's nearly ready. Or cuticle, I think they call it. So we'll have watermelon. It's got to find an old dog now. Yeah, I didn't do any video of our friends that were here from that head-on crash. Would have been very cruel. They were hoppling around and all braced up. And they could eat though. I said to Tim, I said, mate, in that head-on collision, obviously your stomach didn't get injured. He said, no. We're looking after grandbabies again tomorrow. We've always got them. It's like you turn the corner in the house and there's another one. Where'd you come from? But it's all good. Yeah, it's a rehab centre here, Danny. You'll be fine. You won't go hungry. Thank you, Jojo. It's very kind of you. A couple more things happening in the next couple of weeks. We're putting the cast iron panels on the front fence and some nice cast iron going up the front steps. No, yams and sweet potatoes, they take over, and in a confined box you don't get a great return. I like them, don't get me wrong, but probably sweet potatoes is what we would grow here, the yellow and the red. I tend to grow things that cost more to buy, like garlic is incredible, as I told you before, VMAC is incredibly expensive. But we've now got, what's 36, 50 something, maybe 55, around that figure of garlic. Yeah, we have, I've got pumpkin growing now, you call it squash, but there's so many different varieties, there's winter and summer. But yep, I grew a lot of butternut pumpkin this year, and they're brilliant. When you grow butternut pumpkin, you pick it when it's ready to be picked. You can store it in your cupboard in a cool, dark place, and I'm serious, for about 12 months. It's the perfect encasement of a vegetable. Yeah, probably would, Jojo. It's not that cheap here either. Yeah, and at the back, where the grass is, we've got a bit of an extension of paving, and the roof extends a bit over there. We're putting a patio over the top of that, and we're going to cover where you can see, maybe you can't see, put it a bit closer. Whoops, I turned you around. Hello, how are you? down here, that's not actually covered, that walkway at the moment, but it will be. There'll be a cover all over the top of that so you don't get a wet bum when you walk up the ramp. All right, there, mate, you enjoy your day, and hopefully the weather won't be as bad as it's predicted for you. Yeah, we got a picture of Charlie. It's a competition between Danny and Mel. Mel sent us some real, I don't know, ask Mrs. C's to send you some pictures of the dress up of JJ and Bentley. It's so funny. Actually, she did a video, if you go to Mel's channel, of them dressed up. They look terribly like, well, what are you doing? And she got like 10,000 views. It was one of those off the chart, you know, when you get around them. Just saying to the ladies before you got in, Jojo, we had family friends stay with us for 3 or 4 days because 2 weeks ago, nearly 3 weeks ago actually, they were involved in a head-on high-speed crash. A guy coming against them fell asleep at the wheel. He was in a Subaru, and they were in a fairly big 4-wheel drive, but everyone got flown out by helicopters to hospital, and they're in braces. They look like Iron Men, with all the braces on their legs and their back and their neck. So we had them here for a few days, and they've just flown back to their town today. So they'll be happy to get home. The cars, it's one of those things, you look at a car and say, yeah, no one survived that. But they all did. The old guy's not good. Things happen, and then, I mean, I was talking to the young, well, they're both 40, Tim and his missus, but Tim was sort of saying how he's reflected on what he's got in life and realises that there's a lot more important things. Yeah, you just, like I say, this guy didn't give them an opportunity. They saw him at the last minute slumped over the wheel, and they had nowhere to go. They got basically 3/4 onto the gravel off the bitumen, but he still ploughed into them. You just never know, like I say. Not as if they did anything wrong, but the old fella behind the wheel of the Subaru fell asleep. But yeah, they're going to be in a bad way for quite a long time. They've been given orders that there's no work for either of them for 3 months minimum, and they've all got to go through a review. I can tell you that a lawyer came round. They just phoned up a company, and the lawyer came round. He drove you like this one, Jojo? It was this year's model Audi. It smelt like money, parked in my driveway. And I didn't listen, but they told me later that their minimum fees for taking just one of them on is up to $25,000. Maybe ask Mrs. Seeds, Danny. Maybe she can give it to you. I'm not sure if I can do it while I'm on. Oh, she's got heaps of dogs dressed up videos. Very funny. Yeah, no, that's not a good thing, Jojo. Excuse me, do you mind waking up? Well, the future will unfold, Jojo, where you'll get in a car and there'll be no Uber driver at all. It'll just be the car. It'll say, Mr. Knight, where do you want to go? They're trialling them all over the world. driverless cars. I've been very impressed. Well, you know more about it than me, Jojo, but particularly in Europe, the amount of EVs coming out now is staggering. Some countries have said 2030 is it. There'll be no more combustion motors in their countries. It's just getting, it's a good thing, there's no question about it, but the transition needs to be done carefully, I think. Like if you went back 6 or 7 years ago, there was 1 or 2 EVs on the market. Now there's probably, I don't know, 70, 80 minimum, which is a good thing. That means it will become competitive, which means when the price comes down because of that competitiveness, more people will buy them. I just want a robotic wife. Oh, we'll all chip in and buy you one of them love dolls, Jojo. So let me think for a moment. What sort of love doll? You probably want the doll to come with a very large B-class van as well. Maybe a smearing of Chanel Le Shawarma, perfume. Would be nice. Maybe just some hair and a bald spot. Maybe no bald spot at all, just all bald. And let's think, love doll probably, I don't know, 450 pounds. Because she won't be run away from you then, of course, even though she's robotic. Yeah, we can all chip in and get you one of them. What would we call her? How much? Oh, I think it's definitely going to cost you, Jojo, $5, $10, $15, $20 at least. Yes, we'll be reminiscing in the years that unfold, if we're still here. But it's a bleak future for the shawarma kid, I'm afraid. There's only so many gutters you can roll in. There's nothing wrong, truly, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there's nothing wrong with everyone going through the total down and out. You hit rock bottom. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not good, but it's a damn fine lesson for the rest of your life to take into stock what's important. Well, I think I'll be wandering inside. Might have a cuppa. Good to catch up with a few of you. I hope you all have a great day. And make sure, Danny, that your husband don't eat all those lollies. Remember? I tell you what you could do. You could say they're $45 each. Put it in the jar when you grab one. That'll pay for your airfares. It's a thought. Anyway, to all of you, have a great day. And happy Easter to all of you. Try and remember why Easter was created. It was to sell Easter eggs. The true meaning of Easter has nothing to do with chocolate. Smell like garlic and onions. Yep. It'll definitely be that flavour. All right, to all of you, a very good night.